Hello friends, it is Sunday night, 11:37, and it is Storytime Sunday, edition 2. I hope you all having a great weekend and a phenomenal week coming up. And so, I want to share a story on how I met my mentor a number of years ago. And so, I just want to start off with saying, I was at UBC finishing up my degree, and I had just moved back home after I got it and lived with my parents. And at that time, things were decent, and then I was living at home. I was helping manage my parents' properties and working an outside sales job. And at the time, I wasn't really too clear on my path, but I just, figured I might as well stay home for a little bit as I figured stuff out, pay off my loans, make some money, save some money. And at that time, my parents had some difficulty in their relationship, some challenges, let's say that. And I had just moved back, but my younger brother, he had moved to UBC to finish off his degree, and I think he had a couple more years left. And my older brother, I think he might have still been living there, or had started to he was married and had maybe he just moved out at that time. So essentially, I was the only one living at home with my parents. And oh man, it was a crazy time for me, because my parents were, like I said, massive challenges, yelling at each other a lot, and I was living there. And I figured, you know what, I'll take care of all their businesses while they work on their relationship. And you ever think that you're doing the right thing, but end up not being the right thing for yourself or for even the people that you think you're helping? And that's kind of the situation I got myself into, not knowing, of course. So living in an environment where my parents were attacking each other every single day. I don't know if you ever experienced that or can't even imagine, but I would never wish it on anybody. It was a very difficult time for me. And, it started to wear me down, let's just say that. And it was, I didn't know what to do, some family members knew what was going on, but I was just trying to be a good son, and trying to give them their space and their time and whatever energy they had to try to figure things out. And what I saw was it's pretty ugly, just say that. I don't wish it on anybody. And after 2 years, I had approached my mom and just said, hey, you know what, I want to move out, I want to start my life, right? And she basically begged me to stay. She's like, yeah, I'm still figuring stuff out with your dad. Can you just stay a little while longer? And of course, me wanting to be a good son, I said, okay, fine. So I stayed a couple more years. So 4 years in total. And after 4 years, living in that toxic environment, it broke me down. I was a shell of a person. It really did. I every day I woke up, I would be walking around in a daze, not knowing, not caring about a lot of things. It was just, my head was just foggy, and I was just lost. I didn't know who to turn to, who to ask for help. And that's when I decided to reach out. A friend of mine had introduced me to a mentor of his, and I knew that he mentored people in business, but he also mentored people in life. And so, I had met him a few times, really didn't have a relationship, And so I reached out and said, hey, you know what? I'm going through something personal right now, and I need some help. Can you help me? And he says, okay, well, there's a leadership conference going on in Vegas in like a couple weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it was. And he says, why don't you meet me there and you can tell me about it? And I'm thinking to myself, dude, we live in like Vancouver. We can just meet up here. This is what I was thinking. But I didn't care. I'm like, okay, when are you going to be there? Can I get your number? Okay, cool. So I booked my tickets. I booked my hotel. He connected me with somebody that I was going to share a room with. So I said, sweet. I booked it for a week. I'm like, hey, it's Vegas. I might as well spend some time there. So I went early and I scoped out Vegas, had some fun. Well, that was my plan anyways. And the guy that I was supposed to stay with, he ended up bailing last minute. And I'm just like, what the heck? I'm like, I spent over $1,000 booking this place and he bails. Looking back now, I probably should ask him to reimburse me. Dude, like, you committed to this. Give me the $500. But at that time, I didn't care. I was a shell of a person. I didn't care about anything, really, at that time. It was a very traumatic experience I went through. And so I said, okay, fine, whatever. I was going anyways, so I went. I reached out to my mentor and I asked him, hey, I'm here. Can you let me know when you're in town and when we can meet? And so I ended up chasing him down. It was a leadership conference, so yeah, I ended up buying a ticket. Okay, I met him at the conference, and then I walked him back to his hotel, and just building that relationship. He didn't know anything. Looking back now, I was thinking, wow, he didn't ask me for any details of what I was going through. But he was willing to meet with me, and that's all. I was just so grateful for that. Because, I had friends and family that, knew what was going on, but they didn't know how to help. And who could I really even talk to? Like, I don't know. And so I walked him back to his room, and he says, okay, yeah, what's going on? Why don't you share with me what's going on? And I told him the situation. I said, well, my parents are basically going through a divorce. I've been living there 4 years. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know how to get out of the situation. I don't know how much longer I have to go through this. But I know something needs to change. And he says, okay. He was actually just very matter-of-factly. And he just said, okay, well, I will mentor you if you do these 3 things. And I'm like, okay. What are they? He says, okay, number 1, you need to move out. You need to move out of a toxic environment that will pull you back every single day that you're trying to get out. Number 2, you got to be able to take care of yourself. Be autonomous, right? So go get a job or make money somehow that you can take care of yourself. And then number 3, find a positive roommate. And he kind of already had somebody in mind. And say, okay, done. I'll do all 3 of those, right? If you'll mentor me, you help me, done. And he says, well, do them, and then come back, and then I'll mentor you. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the heck? I'm like, dude, I said I would do it. But I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And I didn't understand why he said that before. I do now. But I'm like, okay. So he connected me with the person that I could potentially be roommates with. And I already made the decision. I talked to him. We made the plans. I was going to move out in a few weeks after that. And then I went back to my mentor, and he said, okay, let's start building a relationship. And I just visit him once a month, once every 3 weeks. He just invited me over to his place, and we just built a relationship. Because again, I didn't know what the heck was going on. And after coming home, again, my dad and my mom were just yelling at each other, and then they start yelling at me. And then, my dad just got really mad and said, hey, you need to move out and start your life, and stop living here. And I said, I am. I said, I'm moving out in 2 weeks. And he was just shocked. He's like, what? He didn't say that, but in his face, it says, whoa. And then he's like, and then when he realized what I just said, he's like, oh, okay, good. Yeah, that'll be good for you. And then my mom, of course, he's like, why are you forcing our son to move out? And then, of course, she started blaming my dad. Look at you, da-da-da. And I tried to explain to him, like, I already made the decision. Things were already set in motion, right? Dad had nothing to do with me choosing to move out. And, you know, and then, of course, I told my brothers, my older brother, he came to me and he said, hey, you know, they're still figuring things out. They're almost done. Why don't you stay a little bit longer? And when, just a suggestion of that, I broke down. I just ugly cried. I could not even fathom another month living in that. But he didn't know what I went through. And then a month after I moved out, you know, my uncle called me. And he would he would say some not so nice things and accuse me of abandoning my mother. Sorry. But again, he didn't know what I was going through. Thanks, Will. Appreciate it. He didn't know what I went through or what's going through. But I'm so grateful that he loves my mom so much. I was just trying to protect her. And same with my brother. You know, family is a tricky relationships. So much emotion, so much attachment. And, you know, they just didn't know what I went through. And the thing is, I wouldn't have left if I didn't think my mom would be okay. That's the thing. Because I would never abandon any of my parents, anybody I love. Because, yeah, you know, obviously, you know, that was a hard time for me, but I knew I needed to do that for myself and also for my relationship with them. And, you know, I ended up being a hermit for about 1.5 years, trying to build myself back up. My self-esteem, my identity, who I was. I was always a happy-go-lucky guy. And I lost so much of me through that experience. It took me 1.5 years of being a hermit. Literally, I was in my room for like 12-hour days. Didn't meet a lot of people. Fortunately, I had a great roommate that was positive, and I could at least have some social time with somebody. But you know what? After 1.5 years, I became a lot stronger. And I believe everything that happens is happening for me, not to me. I don't know why I was going through this, but I learned so many lessons. You know? Yes, Will, definitely. I have to put my oxygen mask first before helping somebody else. And, you know, going back to what my mentor had said, do the 3 things and then I'll mentor you. I understood why later on. He shared with me that there were supposed to be 16 people from Vancouver that were supposed to actually join him in Vegas for the leadership conference. And can you guess how many people went? including me, one person. I was the only person who actually was accountable and ended up joining him down in Vegas. I'm like, I'm like, what? How? I'm like, do they not know who you are? Like, like, just to have a relationship with a mentor that can help you through anything, really? Like, but, you know, I've learned that, you know, a lot of times people don't change unless sometimes it just hurts. It hurts too much that they can't handle more, that they're forced to change, you know. And I hope you never get to that position where you start to change because you have to. Because it's not an easy path to go through. And to me, it was a no-brainer. Like, I was dying inside. And I was like, okay, you're willing to meet with me? Even in Vegas? I was like, you want me in Vegas? Okay, sure. Like I said, like, we live, like, within a half an hour's drive, right? I could just met him somewhere in the Lower Mainland, but he made me meet him in Vegas. And I'm so grateful that I said yes to that opportunity. I'm so grateful I reached out and built that relationship. And I'm so grateful that I chose to actually listen to him. Because if I hadn't, I don't know how much longer I would have stayed in that situation and just gone even more of a spiral. Because none of my friends knew what to do to help me. None of my family knew what to do to help me. They were way too involved emotionally to even think logically or clearly. And they didn't know what I was going through. Like, every day I was being pulled left, right, right? And I hope you don't ever have to experience that. And another thing is that I hope that if you ever have relationship issues, that you never put your children in the middle of it. It's not fair. But at the same time, I know that my parents were hurting. I don't blame them for anything. I'm just grateful. I was able to learn a lot of lessons. And hopefully, me sharing my story can help you. Or someone that you know that may be going through something similar. And I still have that relationship with my mentor today. It's been over a dozen years. He's helped me through so much. I'm so grateful that I have him in my life. And some other mentors that I've developed relationships along the way. And, you know, I hope you have people in your life that you can turn to, that you can trust and be vulnerable with, and fight through whatever challenges you have, whatever that may be. Because you don't have to go through it alone. Please, whatever struggles you maybe go through, don't ever go through it alone. We're made to connect with each other. We're made to support each other and love each other. And that's the story I wanted to share with you tonight on how I found my mentor. And I hope you enjoyed it. Anyways, it's almost midnight, so just fitting this in under my before my deadline. So I love you all. And if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're lost and don't know who or where to turn to, please feel free to reach out. I may not know exactly how to help you personally, but I can at least be an ear and potentially direct you in a certain way. Okay? Good night, my friends, and I love you all.